It's happening again. Trump's trade war isn't just coming back, it's leveling up. Sanctions, tariffs, retaliation, and now a potential strike against both China and India. What does it mean for the global economy? For the dollar? For you? Are you ready? Because we're about to break down the coming economic storm that could shake the world. And trust me, you don't want to miss this. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below, because this is going to get intense.
So let's start where the fire began, India. After a recent wave of sanctions imposed by Trump's administration on India, things are shifting fast. What started as a punishment is now triggering a geopolitical chain reaction. India, traditionally a careful balancer between East and West, is now pivoting sharply. Modi isn't just upset, he's making moves. He's restarting trade talks with Brazil under BRICS and, more importantly, opening new channels with China. You heard that right. For the first time in over 7 years, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is planning a state visit to Beijing. This isn't just a diplomatic handshake. This is a signal to Washington that India is re-evaluating its alliances. And let's be clear, this isn't new. Biden's policies pushed Russia closer to China. Now Trump is doing the same with India. And what does the US gain from this? Nothing. This isn't strategy, it's self-sabotage, and the entire world is watching. Now here's where things really start to spiral. Trump isn't stopping at India. He's now floating the idea of punishing China for buying Russian oil. Yes, the very China that props up the global supply chain and buys energy at record levels to fuel its industrial machine. Even Peter Navarro, one of Trump's top economic advisors, is skeptical. And when Navarro starts getting cold feet, you know it's serious. The current average tariff on Chinese goods is already around 30%. But Trump is considering doubling that, pushing it to 60%. What's the goal? To choke off Russian oil revenues by targeting China, their biggest customer. But here's the problem. This isn't just an attack on Russia, it's an attack on the global economy, on the US manufacturing base, and on the very energy markets that power the world. Let's break it down. China's economic engine runs on one secret ingredient: cheap energy. In July alone, China imported over $10 billion in goods from Russia, most of it energy. This allows Chinese factories to produce cheaper, faster, and in greater volume than anyone else. It's the reason Chinese EVs are dominating. It's why they can outcompete American manufacturers. It's how they've won the manufacturing war. And cutting off China's oil supply from Russia? That's not just a trade move, that's economic warfare. Now here's the kicker. The White House knows this. They know a move like this could spark a black swan event, an unpredictable disaster that could bring down the entire system in days. It sounds extreme, but think about it. Every supply chain is interconnected. One wrong move, and boom. Inflation skyrockets, shortages hit, and the US economy implodes. So what happens if Trump actually pulls the trigger? You better believe China won't just sit back. Their first move? Weaponizing rare earths. These minerals are the lifeblood of modern industry, essential for everything from smartphones to fighter jets, and China controls the lion's share of global production. In May, the US imported only 46 tons of rare earth magnets. In June, that jumped to 350 tons, and it's still not enough. Why? Because Trump's chip war depends on these minerals. Reshoring semiconductor manufacturing in the US is pointless without access to the raw materials. Now imagine Beijing pulling the plug again, just like they did in April and May. The effects would be catastrophic. Chip factories would shut down, EV production would stall, and prices would explode. And now, we come to the core of it all, the US dollar. Because this trade war isn't just hitting goods, it's hitting confidence. The dollar's strength is tied to global demand, but with trade collapsing, that demand is crumbling. Over the past 7 months, the dollar has dropped nearly 9%. And according to Bank of America, hedge funds are now the most bearish on the dollar they've been in over 20 years. That's worse than before the 2008 housing crash. Big money is shorting the dollar, betting it will fall further. And with each new round of tariffs, that outlook worsens. Countries are rerouting trade away from the US. BRICS nations are building alternative financial systems. And China? They're pushing harder than ever to trade in currencies other than the dollar. Now let's talk about interest rates, because the Federal Reserve is about to drop the hammer. In September, there's a 91% chance of a rate cut. Lower rates mean weaker returns on U.S. bonds. That makes them less attractive to global investors, and with all the chaos, the incentive to hold U.S. dollars evaporates. UBS just released a report slamming the dollar's outlook, warning of systemic risk to anyone holding U.S. assets. And with economic data looking worse by the day, the Fed's hand might be forced. But don't get it twisted. This isn't just about numbers, this is about confidence. And right now, confidence in the U.S. economic engine is crumbling. Let's cut through the spin. Trump and his team are celebrating the revenue from tariffs like it's some great victory. Navarro claims we're pulling in $50 billion per month from tariffs. Some even dream of a $1 trillion windfall. But here's the truth, it's a hidden tax on you. Tariffs raise prices. Consumers, ordinary Americans, end up footing the bill. It's not China paying, it's your wallet getting drained. And where's that money going? Into the federal government, propping up spending while wages stagnate and inflation bites. It's a reverse Robin Hood. The rich get richer, asset prices surge, and working-class Americans are left to suffer. We've seen this movie before, in 2008, in 2020, and now it's playing again in reverse. Trump loves to point to the investment pledges pouring into the U.S. He says Apple will bring $600 billion, Stargate, $500 billion, Nvidia, $200 billion, TSMC, $100 billion. Together, this is supposed to create 400,000 jobs. But here's the reality. Most of these investments won't happen, at least, not under Trump. Many companies and countries are just waiting him out, hoping for a different administration. If even a quarter of these pledges vanish, the shock will ripple through the economy. Tariffs make imports expensive. U.S. manufacturing is too costly without rare earths, and consumer confidence is already fragile. Now imagine all that investment drying up, a weaker dollar, broken supply chains, less trade. It's a recipe for recession. And finally, perhaps the most dangerous long-term move of all. Trump is setting the stage to take over the Federal Reserve. He's nominated Stephen Moore to the Board of Governors, a man who not only loves tariffs but actively wants a weaker dollar. This is the architect of Trump's trade war strategy. If he's confirmed, we can expect the Fed to begin aggressively cutting rates by 2026 and 2027. The goal? Boost exports by weakening the dollar. But the fallout could be catastrophic. Because once trust in the dollar erodes, it's not just about trade, it's about the entire global financial system. And when the world stops trusting your currency, the empire starts to fall. So where does this all leave us? Trump's unpredictable, high-stakes trade war could push India into China's arms, collapse global supply chains, erode the dollar's dominance, shatter investor confidence, and trigger a financial catastrophe unlike anything we've seen before. The threat is real, the risks are high, and the clock is ticking. Will Trump really punish China for buying Russian oil? Will the U.S. dollar survive another round of tariffs and rate cuts? Or are we heading toward a global economic implosion? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button to fight the algorithm. Subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. And share this video, because people need to know what's coming. Stay informed, stay prepared, and as always, stay safe.